We are live. Estamos en vivo. We are live. We are here. We are present for another season of Pride and Passion Baseball Talk Season 2. Season 2, we're here. We're back. And I am just going to pause briefly because I want to make sure you guys know how much baseball means to me and the world, how excited I am. Why? Boom! Baseball is back. Yes, I am excited. I don't know how much you guys know how much I love baseball. Um, man, I'm telling y'all, I can't. No, we're not going Braves. We're not doing that right now, Mr. Bryson Tucker. Um, I'm gonna need you Braves fans to calm down. You're throwing me out of my mojo here for a second. Let me tell y'all something. Holy crap. Baseball is back. We just went through a World Baseball Classic of epic proportions. For those of you that don't know, Japan did win the World Baseball Classic. And man, we got exhibition baseball times 1,000 for those sports fans. You don't have to be patriotic. We're talking about representation to the fullest of Japan, United States, Mexico, who went to the Final Four, Venezuela. I'm telling you, baseball to the fullest, man. We got amazing baseball, and I'm here to tell you that we are in for a treat, a bigger baseball season leading to 2023. Yes, we saw that the Mets spent buku bucks, as we know, right? Um, uh, Will they win? Can they win? I don't know. I'll offer my prediction at the end of the show. Hopefully, you guys are still with me. For those of you that are watching now, please watch later. Share to your pages, share to your friends, tag at everyone. Let's annoy everybody when it comes to baseball, when it comes to the All Sports Matters podcast, which will be tomorrow. All right. I'm telling you, I got pages. I got pages and pages and pages of notes, but I'm not going to do that because you know why? I am on a pitch clock, as they say. New year, new clock. Who this? I don't know. So, comment on the comment page. Let me know if you like the time clock. Do you like what's going on, the new rules of baseball? Um, Today, for example, just today, pure coincidence, the Braves game, since we're on the Braves, that game went 2 minutes and 8 seconds. So it's 2 minutes and 8 seconds. Sorry, 2 hours. Geez, that was a fast game. 2 hours and 8 minutes. Excuse me. 2 hours and 8 minutes. Do we have the mindset to sit? I guess the rhetoric was uh, fans, casual fans, strangers of the game couldn't sit down and watch a baseball game for 3 hours. And I guess only the hardcore fans like myself, I'm not knocking nobody's intelligence or your fandom, regardless of where you're at. Where are you with the pitch clock, which is the main part of the new rules? I can already see nobody knows. I don't know about the pitch clock, and I agree. I am a old school uh, baseball player per se. Yes, I grew up with almost the best of them. Not going to name drop anybody, but there's a lot of pressure when you're up there and you're not ready in 7 seconds as a batter. I will throw that out there. It's not fair to the batters. I think that should be tweaked just a little bit. Not even in the batter's box. We're saying making eye contact, bat up, looking at the pitcher. If you're not ready at the 8 second mark, which means you got to be ready in 7 seconds. If you're not ready about that, holy crap. I'm not a fan of that. I'm not. Um, I think what's crazy. I know Flex said it definitely needs some tweaking. They allegedly tweaked it. They didn't change the time of it. They tweaked it as far as foul balls, brushback pitches. Um, the memo came out this week, letting the umpire know to not start the clock until they're somewhat ready. It's not indefinitely 15 seconds, pitch, 15 seconds again. MLB is not saying to do that. It's up to the discretion of the umpire, obviously. And if we're talking about discretion of the umpire, we can talk about discretion of the referee. And yesterday we saw the worst kind of referee when it came to the Warriors and Mavericks game, where they got something right and there's something wrong, but it didn't tell both team, and Golden State got an easy 2 points. So I don't believe in leaving it up to the discretion of the officiating, but here we are. The pizza boxes, the plates, the bases have expanded from 15 inches to 18 inches, and that's for safety. You know what? I agree with that. I have no issues. Safety does come first. Don't mind me as I look down as I'm trying to make sure these slides come up. I apologize that the slides will not be up on the screen, but you're right. It is crazy that the batters have to be locked and loaded with 7 seconds into the pitch clock and 12 seconds with the runner on base. Now, why did I say that? We got 15 seconds for the pitcher to make a pitch, but the batter's got to be ready before the clock touches 8 seconds, which gives them 7 seconds to get ready. We're talking about speed baseball. I hate it. Not a fan of that particular thing. I get what Major League Baseball is trying to do. I really do. I get that they're trying to get it down from 3 hours and 12 minutes to 2.5. And they have so far. The exhibition games have been down to 2 hours and 28 minutes by average. And I totally get it. Are they missing out on money for sponsorships? Of course they are. But for the first time, they're trying to look at the pace of play and not the money being brought in. Kudos for that, but it still needs to be tweaked just a little bit. And I'm hoping that goes away, at least by playoff time. There's no way the best of the best, okay? The best of the best, 7 teams in each league, as we saw last season for the first time, has to be rushed to 7 seconds to get in the batter's box and ready to receive a pitch. I'm not for Major League Baseball. I'm hoping that it gets tweaked throughout the season. Let's talk about the good things that did change, though. Let's focus on the good. As the Army will say, hunt the good stuff. Let's talk about the no shifts. I actually like that. Now, you would think they're making millions of dollars. They should be able to hit any which way. Let me tell you something. As a professional softball player, I get shifted on as a lefty, and I hate it. I got to go to backside. Did it make me a better hitter? Yes, it did. But I'm not playing for millions. I'm playing for 10s and 20s. Okay, so that's different. But it makes the game go better. It makes your and they want a faster pace of play. They want a faster game. Speaking of faster, we have the stolen base. Pitchers can only throw over to the bag twice per at bat. If they don't catch him within then, the third pitch becomes a ball if he ends up being safe at first base. How does that affect the game? Stolen bases is going up a ton this year. If you like speed, this is the time if Vince Coleman or Ricky Henderson would have been playing in the game, they would have went from 100 steals to 250 easily without breaking a sweat. So that changes the game. I think that makes it a little more exciting. It moves the bases, it moves the runners. I like it. I do like that. Bigger bases, we talked about that. We'll see how that goes through the season. But I can't get to the season unless I talk about who won the previous season. And the previous winners we all know was the Houston Astros. If you don't know, now you know. I don't have a good Biggie voice, but I think that's in there somewhere. The Houston Astros have won their second Major League title. Kudos for them. Cool, whatnot, whatevs. I'm not a Houston Astros fan. Everybody knows that. I tried not to be a Houston Astros hater, but again, we're here to talk about baseball today. The All Sports Matters podcast will be tomorrow with the group of guys, the brothers. Today is being sponsored by the All Sports Matters podcast. So stay tuned today. Please stay tuned tomorrow. We got a great show for you as we try to figure out these last 2 weeks of the NFL frenzy free agency. But the Astros last year, back to baseball, had a 106 and a 56. 106 wins, 56 losses. Only one team had a better record than them in the regular season, and that was the LA Dodgers, who crapped the bed in the playoffs like they usually do. And again, that's not hate. Those are facts. Much love to my brother Jimmy Bilbo, Jimmy James, Jimmy Andre. Sorry, Jay. Your team chokes. Your team chokes. Now, I will ask this question. I was hoping my brothers will come with me today, but I am a one-man show. And I'll ask this question to the public. As a team, as the champions, I guess, as the champions, the Astros lost their ace, the number one pitcher, to free agency to those Mets, Justin Verlander. What is harder? What would you rather have? Not what is harder. I'll ask this question to the public. What would you rather have? The reigning defending Cy Young winner on the mound for you, or a four-time All-Star in Jose Abreu added to your lineup, which is already a stud lineup? We're talking about Abreu, Altuve, Pena, Bregman, Tucker, Alvarez, Martin Maldonado, a stud lineup. And they add another All-Star. Which one would you rather have? We can't be greedy here, John. I appreciate the I appreciate the chime in, the comment, the support is the word I was looking for. Thank you. Let's not be greedy. Which one would you rather have? Would you rather have the Cy Young Award winner or another All-Star to the All-Star lineup that Houston Astros have? Now, when it comes to the pitching, they're not bad, but they're not Cy Young caliber. You know, they got Javier. You got, I'm trying to think on the top of my head. I didn't even write it down. Actually, I did. Valdez, Javier, McCullough, Ukady, Garcia. 5-6 inning pitchers that all they do is pitch quality games, which that's all you want in a pitching staff, right? You just want a quality starter to get you 6 innings at least and get you to your bullpen. And that's what the Astros got. But they don't have the name of Justin Verlander. So we'll see how that goes. We're going to move on because I do not want to take up a lot of your time. There's a lot to go over. I agree with both you guys. Give me one season. Give me Verlander. Verlander is 39, 40 years old now. He is kind of like the Tom Brady of baseball. Can he carry that on to 42? We'll see. Maybe not. Maybe the Mets did that, and I'll talk about the Mets when the Mets come up here. But I want to stick to where we're at because the Astros did win. I want to give them their just due, as we said. And we got the Seattle Mariners, who made a bunch of moves as well. And they made the playoffs. They lost in the they won the one and done game, and they moved on. But they finished at 90 and 72, second place in the West. And they have a phenom by the name of Julio Rodriguez. Rookie of the year last year. He's only 22 entering this year. What else can he do? They kind of have some names around him, but not the names that the Houston Astros have. So I totally expect the Houston Astros to win the division and quite possibly win the American League with the same lineup they had last year. But I'm gonna go through these names really quick. Ty France, Eugenio Suarez, Teoscar Hernandez, Cal Raleigh. Colton Wong was a name that they brought in, which is a big deal. He'll be playing second base. AJ Pollock came from the White Sox over to the Mariners. So they have some hitters. But here's what I'm talking about. The Mariners have the pitching to shut down anybody, regardless if they have the lineup like the Astros. But sometimes you need the hitting. So that's why when I ask that question, who you prefer, sometimes you still need that extra base hit to win the game. But here's the Mariners rotation. Luis Castillo, who came over, Cincinnati Reds, complete stud. Robbie Ray, won the AL Cy Young a couple years ago. Logan Gilbert, who I expect to have a good season this year. Gonzalez and George Kirby, and all George Kirby did was strike out the Dodgers the other day. Shut out the Dodgers and struck out 8 of them. So their pitching is definitely going to be phenomenal. I'm going to move on. I'm going to keep this train moving because I do believe I'm on a pitch clock. So I'm trying to just keep baseball flowing. And as we saw in the World Baseball Classic, we saw the last out came down to Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout, who are teammates. For those of you who don't know, they're teammates. And I'm pretty sure that clubhouse is going to be just a little bit awkward for just a little bit. But that's pretty much all they really have out there in LA, or the Anaheim Angels of LA, Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. That's the official name. I didn't make this stuff up, guys. I don't really try to change things. They did sign Brandon Drury and Hunter Renfroe as a couple sticks, but is that enough? I don't know, and I doubt it. If you're asking me, nobody asked me, but I'm giving you your rhetorical questions is I doubt it. But one question, and I'll ask the public this: Shohei Ohtani will be a free agent after this year. Where does he go, and does become the first average? It's crazy. Even Siri says that's an interesting question. But does he become the first free agent to get $50 million average a season? That is something, that's something to think of. And who gets him? Is it the cash happy Padres, cash happy Mets? You know, who's going to spend money for Shohei Ohtani next year? And that's an excellent observation, Fleck. The Dodgers are definitely in play to keep them down in LA. For those that don't know, the West Coast is the prime region for Asians, being due to the time and being closer to fly in with Japan, Korea. I'm just going to say Asia. I'm not going to name every country in Asia. But most of the viewing, they appreciate them late because they get to wake up to the Dodgers. So I don't blame them for that, man. I'm again, comment, share. Let's talk some baseball. I know it's not a popular sport among all the sports, but it is national pastime, I guess. We're more national pastime than the Cowboys are America's team. Just want to throw that out there. And that's not hate. Those are facts. Again, and the other two teams come down to the Rangers and A's in the West. And I guess the only thing I can think of to talk about the Rangers would be that they spent 5 years, $185 million on Jacob deGrom, and nobody knows if he's going to be healthy. It's kind of sad, especially after spending $500 million last year on two players, Marcus Semien and Corey Seager, and that didn't pan out too much. And right now, the only thing I can say about the A's is everybody's looking forward to them leaving for Las Vegas. Shell, I am too. I can catch a game when I go down to Vegas, when I go every year. Let's go to the East, from the West to the East. The Yankees, obviously, is the favorite to win the division. 99-63 last year, 7 games ahead of second place. Do we see anything close to what Aaron Judge did last year? I'm going to say I don't think so. I still see a 50 home run type player. But as we saw in September, the man struggled just to get 1 home run to break the record. So I'm glad that's over with. That's in the past. I hope we're not going for Barry Bonds' 73 Major League record this year, because we need an easy-going Aaron Judge to make the Yankees rule, because there's a lot more questions than answers when it comes to the Yankees, believe it or not. Who's playing shortstop? Which young stud? Who's playing left field? Aaron Hicks doesn't seem to be that guy. He's not even that good of a hitter. So there's still a lot of questions. There's a lot of injuries going on in New York. Carlos Rodon, who they brought over a 6-year, $162 million. He's not healthy right now. He should be throwing a simulated bullpen session next week. Man, but The rotation is still stacked. I got Garrett Cole. I don't know. I was thinking Aaron Cole, Aaron Judge, Garrett Cole. We got Severino, Hector Cortez, and we already know Frankie Montas is out for the season. So the Yankees still got those questions on who's going to fill out the back end of the roster, which we did last year. The same question that hurt the Yankees last year, in the production, it's the same question going to this year. Because they didn't do anything offensively that changed the mantra of who the Yankees are. So they have a lot of young guns in Cabrera, Volpe, Peraza, but is that enough? We don't know. I don't know. Hopefully we'll find out in the first month of the season rather than the last. Harrison Bader is injured as well. So Yankees and injuries go hand in hand. I'm not going to sit here and say the Yankees are the team to beat. I do believe they will win the division, but I still don't think they have enough to overcome Houston. So stay tuned for that. And the Blue Jays, who I selected last year to go to the World Series to represent the American League, did not do that. They lost to the Mariners in the playoffs. Same team. They added a couple names, Brandon Belt and Kevin Kiermaier. So it makes their defense a little bit better. But they still got names of Springer, Bichette, Guerrero, Kirk, Varsho, which I'm not going to lie to you, I didn't know much about him. Came from Arizona. We'll see what he has to offer out in left field for the Blue Jays. So they have the sticks. The Blue Jays have the sticks. They have quite possibly one of the best lineups in the American League. Can they keep it going? I don't know. We will see. Their pitching definitely is suspect. Either way, I don't know if I'm hip to the game to say sus. I'm just learning how to use the word simp. So don't blame me. I'm learning. But the Tampa Bay Rays, their rotation is what keeps them in there. They got a couple of sticks, couple of hitters. Randy Arozarena, first of all, I didn't know he was Mexican. Go figure, but he balled for Mexico in the World Baseball Classic. They still have him at the top of the lineup for the Rays. So we'll see how that goes. The Orioles, who I like to call the young guns, because they're stacked in hunger when it comes to their bats. But Baltimore, shame on you for not adding any pitching to that up-and-coming franchise. We were surprised. Last year, they finished 83-79, above 500 for the first time. Felt forever. But they added no pitching. Shame on you. Okay, and Kyle Gibson is not their ace, which they signed to be the ace, but he is not it. Sorry. But if I am a Baltimore Oriole player or a hitter, I am mad at the front office for not signing a couple of pitchers. You got one of the better closers. We got to get there first, right? How do you get there? By pitching. They didn't do that. Then you have the Red Sox. The Red Sox out of Boston didn't do anything. They did re-sign Rafael Devers to 10-year, $313 million contract. And I will say shame on you for letting Xander Bogaerts go. Shame on you for letting J.D. Martinez go. Shame, shame, shame. Yeah, well, John Marshall, if they're elders, or if your grandma's Mexican, then that makes you lineage Mexican, right? That's what we're talking about? And that's exactly what those players did. You're absolutely right. I will say that first. I'm not crapping on your comment, but my grandma is half black, so I guess there's no black team, so this got kind of awkward. But you get what I'm saying, right? If your lineage leads you through certain pathways, represent them. And hey, but I was shocked that Randy Arozarena was representing, yes, sis, your grandma was half black. If you didn't know that. So let's get the awkwardness out the way, which we just did. We're going to stay in the American League Essential. Um, this is what obsesses me, because I don't want to waste time talking about, and I hate to use the term teams that don't matter, but the Central Division in both leagues were those where you're like, whoever represents is going to be the first one out, you know? So what do we discuss here? Is it the Guardians was a surprise last year, and I expect them to do the same this year. The Cleveland Guardians, not the Cleveland Indians, which it took me a while to get used to that. It took me a long time to get used to that. But that lineup, and they got everybody coming back, plus Josh Bell. So expect him to hit about 25 home runs. He's not that good of a hitter, but he is a timely power hitter, so expect that. They make their money off their rotation. We're talking about Bieber, not Justin. We're talking about Shane Bieber, Tristan McKenzie, Cal Quantrill, son of a Major League Baseball player, Aaron Savali, and quite possibly the best closer in the game outside of Edwin Diaz. I'm going to pause for dramatic effect because we lost Edwin Diaz for the season. Not we, Major League Baseball did. Emmanuel Clase did his thing, who I drafted. I was able to draft in the second round of my fantasy baseball team yesterday. So I just want to throw that out there. I got nothing but high hopes, as they say, right? So the White Sox last year was they struggled with injuries left and right. All year round was injuries with their pitching, injuries with their hitting. If this team can get it together, I do expect them to quite possibly even go as far as winning the division. So the White Sox, the pitching, Dylan Cease, Lance Lynn, Lucas Giolito, Mike Clevenger, who was cleared of all child abuse charges. It's kind of awkward for me to even say that, throw that out there. Adrian Peterson he had to sit out a year, and Michael Kopech. But this lineup looks like Benintendi, Tim Anderson, Luis Robert, Eloy Jimenez, Yohan Moncada, Grandel, Alva. There's a lot of Hispanics on that team. Holy crap. My dad would love this team if he actually knew who was all playing. And he probably will in the next couple of weeks. So that's all I'll hear on the phone when I call him. He'll probably talk about that. Quickly, the Twins was only known for the dramatic purposes of Carlos Correa. And all season, it was Carlos Correa's show. All season, Carlos Correa signed with the Giants for 13 years, $250 million contract. Failed the physical. The Mets went on and said, you know what? We'll take him. 12 years, $315 million. But let's hire the same doctor that did the Giants physical. Failed again. And then the Twins was like, just come back to Minnesota for 6 years, $200 million. After Correa wanted 7 or 8. But for those who don't know, the physical was about his ankle failing after 6 years. So the Twins says, we'll give you 6 years. No doubt. 30 million? No doubt. We got you. 7th year and you're on your own. And that's what happened. The Twins exactly said that. Come on, baby, come back. That's exactly what happened. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. And then they turned around and traded the American League batting average leader, Luis Arraez. I don't know what the Twins were doing. I don't know. It was kind of holy crap. I don't know. I don't know. Then you got the Tigers and the Royals, and I think the only thing I talk about the Tigers is this Miguel Cabrera's last season. Miggy's been playing for like 48 seasons, and he refuses to retire. I don't blame him. If there's somebody better, play him. But if they're not, then no, I don't know. And he has to say he's going to retire after the season. He didn't. He just says, I'm coming back. So Miguel Cabrera is back in the lineup, doing his thing. Yeah, that's the American League. I hit how much time? Yeah, in 30 minutes. I did American League in less than 30 minutes. My prediction is the Astros again will come out of there, unless obviously the trade deadline come at the end of July. Makes a lot of noise, which baseball is the one league that the trade deadline does make a lot of noise, except for the NBA, who did make a lot of noise this year, a lot of shocking noise. And we're not going to talk about that. Get with the All Sports Matters podcast group. Fridays, we'll talk about that. Tell you how the trade deadline and the teams leading toward the playoffs. You know, we'll talk about that tomorrow. But I got the Astros coming out of here pending any big deal trades come to trading deadline. The National League East, I will start with the National League winners, which was the Philadelphia Eagles. Holy crap. Philadelphia Phillies. Excuse-moi. The Phillies, who are 14 games back in the regular season of the Braves and Mets, who were tied for the league lead. And the Braves just won based off of the head-to-head record. That's why they won the division. So put an asterisk on that, just for the record. Not that I'm hating on the Braves. I'll get to that in a minute. But the Phillies, all they did was win the National League, then sign quite possibly the hottest hitter to go into Major League Baseball, Trey freaking Turner. No? Well, I guess I did that on purpose. Not Seth freaking Rollins. It's Trey freaking Turner, who goes in to just, wow. The hottest hitter. If you haven't seen the World Baseball Classic, then you don't know what I'm talking about. Watch the highlights of the World Baseball Classic, and this kid is hot, ready for the Phillies, I'm about to say the Eagles again, the Phillies to defend their National League title. But the Phillies do have some injuries worth mentioning. Bryce Harper was already out until midseason when he had Tommy John surgery. And today, Rhys Hoskins, their starting first baseman, knee gave out chasing a ground ball. So usually non-contact knee injuries are never good. Never good. And that's definitely going to hurt the Phillies. I would imagine Schwarber moving from the outfield to first base to fill that. Schwarber played first base for the Boston Red Sox. So we'll see if they can overcome that. But we're as crazy as the rosters sound. I'm talking about the Phillies, Braves, and Mets. Hell, even the Marlins made some moves. This is a pitching division. The Phillies go in there with a three-headed dragon of Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler, and Taijuan Walker. Okay, so they're going to be ready to defend, and they have a three-headed dragon in the bullpen, and Jose Alvarado, Craig Kimbrell, and Giovanni Soto. All three can close. All three probably will close with their rotations. So we'll get to that. Well, we'll see how that goes in the season. But let's talk about your Braves. Let's talk about the Braves. I got a lot of Braves fans out there. I guess the question I will ask the Braves will be, can Acuna play a whole season without getting hurt? It's a valid question. It's equivalent to saying, can Fernando Tatis at this point play a whole season without getting hurt? I do not wish hurt on anybody. I don't. As much as I hate teams, I hate the Cowboys, and I even cringed when Dak Prescott went down. I felt bad. I don't hate on any injuries, I should say. I don't wish on any injuries. Excuse me. But a lot of questions come back. Can Kyle Wright have another 20 win season? You're right. Ozzie Albies was full of injuries. But I think the Braves, as consistent as they are, Matt Olson is having an incredible preseason exhibition season for you baseball pundits. I'll have a question for you guys, and I'll say it like this. Can Max Fried stay in Atlanta? I will pause. That's the question I got, though. Can Max Fried stay in Atlanta? And it's quite possible that they might trade him just to get something. And in the trade deadline, question was asked, who plays shortstop for the Braves? I would tell you who plays shortstop. Only by default. That's Orlando Arcia. Has won the shortstop job. The other guy, I forgot his name. He was already sent to the minor league camp. Vaughn Grisham was sent to the minor league camp. So Orlando Arcia has won the Atlanta Braves shortstop job for now. And no, Grisham is now in the minor leagues. He got sent back. He was playing second base. I guess shortstop is not it for him. We don't know, so he got a lot of work to do. If I'm the Braves, I will call the Yankees in a heartbeat. The Yankees got 5 caliber Major League shortstops ready to play right now. So I will call the Yankees right now and get me a shortstop. I don't know if Arcia's bat is, but he beat Grisham. So we'll see how that goes. But one thing I'll give praise to Grisham, same thing. One thing I will give praise to the Braves, tongue-tied right there, is they have built their future. They signed these guys long-term. Okay, we're talking about Austin Riley, Matt Olson, Michael A. Harris. Acuna's contract will be coming up here shortly, and I'm sure they'll re-sign him when the time comes. No doubt about that. Max Fried is the only question mark, and I think he's gone. And I do believe a trade will get done at the trade deadline. That's just me being and I'll say it, the baseball expert that I am. You got to get rid of somebody to get something in return. And I think the Braves will trade Max Fried. You heard it here first. That'll be a man. And you got the New York Mets. The New York Mets of Queens, right? Flushing Meadows. I guess I'll just say that. The Flushing Meadow, Queens Mets of. They spent, not good at math, but $70 million more than it did last year. 283 is what they came in with already. When the tax is 233, just to get to tax, so just to show how much money these guys have spent. Their payroll is $355 million right now. The reason I say right now is because they lost their closer and Edwin Diaz. That was a hard thing to watch. I saw it live. I saw it as it went down. Hello. I was celebrating Puerto Rico. I don't see myself coloring this anytime soon. Maybe before my wedding, but man, that was hard. That was a tough thing to watch. So who closes for the Mets now? That's the big question. David Robinson looks like he's going to be the guy. He struggled just a little bit in Philadelphia last year. That's why they went out and got Giovanni Soto to close out and Craig Kimbrell. But he was always this setup guy. But we'll see what the Mets are doing. But we know they're spending money. This year alone, $86 million. $86 million on the top 2 starters, Verlander and Scherzer. That's just libbity-bibbity, mind-blowing. That's just, it's crazy, right? You still got Kodai Senga. That's the wild card there, but can the lineup do what it needs to do with Nimmo, Marte Lindor, Pete Alonso, Jeff McNeil, who did not look like the reigning, defending National League batting champion playing for the United States? He didn't get not one hit for the whole World Baseball Classic. So we'll see, will the Mets implode? Much more and coming for these Mets. Tune in next week or the week after, as they say in same bat time, same bat channel, right? Do these Mets implode? They got talent. They got talent in every position. but can they get it together? I think last year and it's hard to say that they overachieved. They choked. They were ahead the entire year, pretty much, and let Atlanta come back and then chase them down and win the division. So we'll see if the Mets can come out hot like they did last year and win the division. We will see. The Marlins briefly have the best pitcher in the game. If you haven't heard this name, you heard it from me. The best pitcher in the game, Sandy Alcantara. Best pitcher in the game. Hear it from me now. Okay, I will tell you that much. Man, the reigning defending National League Cy Young Award winner, Sandy Alcantara. If you haven't heard the name of Jazz Chisholm, if you're going out to the stores tomorrow to buy MLB The Show, you'll know that he's on the cover of that show. A flashy, remarkable player. There's no Madden curse here. MLB don't have that, okay? Because Ohtani was on it last year, and he did just fine. Judge the year before that did just fine. I don't know if I can keep going down the list of names of MLB The Show covers, but there's no curse in MLB when it comes to those things. They did trade for the American League batting average winner, Luis Arraez, who won 1 point above Aaron Judge last year. He's in Miami. They still have Jorge Soler, Avisaíl Garcia, Garrett Cooper, Gene Segura, who just won the World Series with the Phillies. I don't think they have a lot to contend with, but the Marlins will not be an easy win. That's all I'm saying. So the teams like the Braves, Mets, and Phillies are going to have to earn it, their victories, because the only walkover they have is the Washington Nationals. I don't think they will. Of course, they'll win a game. Last year, they won 55 games, worst in major leagues. But I think this year they only won 50, 45. I don't know. Between them and the Oakland A's, worst in baseball. Well, let's move on to the National League Central, which is another division where you're like, who? The Midwest teams are only loved by Midwesterners, if that's a thing. I don't know if that's a thing or not, Midwesterners. But Cardinals, Brewers, Cubs, Reds, and Pirates. It'll come down to, again, the St. Louis Cardinals, the Milwaukee Brewers, and do the Cardinals have enough with Goldschmidt, Arenado, Tyler O'Neill, and now they added Yadier Molina's replacement in Wilson Contreras, big bat. So I expect bigger things in the batting for the Cardinals. The issue for the Cardinals will always be their pitching. Adam Wainwright just tweaked his groin, going back to the exhibition. So he won't be ready for regular season. We'll see what goes on there. The Brewers quite possibly have the top 5 pitching rotation in baseball. Corbin Burns, Brandon Woodruff, Eric Lehr, Freddie Peralta. See how that goes. Can Christian Yelich return to MVP form? I get it. I'm breezing past this. I'm hoping some of y'all getting this. Get this now, get this later. Again, share. Please, and I don't mean the singer, I mean share my page, my notes, my preview of 2023 baseball show. I'm trying to practice. I'm on a pitch clock too, okay? I got 15 seconds to go through, so we'll see how the Brewers do. And the Cubs have had a busy all season, quiet, but busy. They signed Dansby Swanson, who I believe that the Braves will miss a lot this coming season. Man. So I 7 years, $177 million. We'll see how that goes. They also signed Cody Bellinger, Eric Hosmer, Trey Mancini, a lot of veterans on that team. Okay, to go with Seiya Suzuki, who will not be starting with the team this year due to injury, but he'll be back probably about in a month's time. They also signed Jameson Taillon. They already have Marcus Stroman, so the Cubs going to make some noise. I I'll be surprised if they're out of it early. They will contend with an easy National League Central. Reds and Pirates. I think two things I need to say about the Reds. Joey Votto being 39 years old, and the fact that they're still paying Ken Griffey Jr., who's the third highest payer on that team. Just want to throw that out there. That's a fun fact. Ken Griffey Jr. is the third highest player getting paid for the Cincinnati Reds this year. So keep that in mind. The Pirates have a lot of young studs: O'Neal Cruz, Brian Reynolds, Brian Hayes. So keep that in mind as we're going forward. This division will be fun to watch as well. Get you some of this. Not that I'm getting paid by Crown Royal, but that is your essential. The little bit of time I got left. Sorry. I will go to the West. The Padres made the most noise, right? We're talking about the Padres, but the Dodgers are the team I'm going to start with. They were the regular season champions because they won 111 games, even though they went to the playoffs and choked. They lost in the playoffs, then turned around, lost Trey Turner. They lost Tyler Anderson, Craig Kimbrell, Justin Turner, Cody Bellinger. All they did was lose. Then injury to Gavin Lux on top of that in the exhibition, losing. I still think they have enough to contend. I still think they have enough to make the playoffs. Reese Haskins, torn ACL. That's a shame. Kind of figured that though. But that's a shame. All the Dodgers did was lose. But they still got Mookie Betts. They still got Atlanta Braves favorite Freddie Freeman. Now I got hiccups. I don't want to go to the show with hiccups. I hate that. And they got a good pitching rotation. Julio Urias, Clayton Kershaw, Thor, Noah Syndergaard, Tony Gonsolin, who will come back sometime this season. He's out with injuries. But the Dodgers' demise will be they have no bullpen. And that's going to suck to watch, to hear. Now let's talk about who I think will win the National League West Division. That's the San Diego money-spent Padres, who we've always asked the question, why are they spending so much money? I found out in my studies for this show that they made the fifth most profit in baseball last season. So they got money to spend, obviously. I didn't know they made that much money out of San Diego, but they did. They made the fifth most profit in San Diego, in Major League Baseball. So we still have that. What did they do? They went out and signed Xander Bogaerts, 11 years. I don't know why I didn't write the number down, but I'm pretty sure it's like $280 million, something like that. My statistician get that for me. Hugh Darvish, 6-year, $108 million. Manny Machado, 11 years, $350 million. Before that, they had Joe Musgrove, 5 years, $100 million. And Fernando Tatis was a 14-year, $340 million contract. And for those of you worried about Fernando Tatis, he's only sitting out 20 games. He's only suspended for 20 games more. So they will have Fernando Tatis in that lineup before the end of April. Okay? So you add Juan Soto, who is quite possibly one of the best hitters in baseball. I do expect him to leave free agency in 2 seasons because the Padres have his rights for 2 more years, this season and next. So he will be baseball's highest paid free agent after Shohei Ohtani. Signed Nelson Cruz. So the Padres are stacked. I do expect them to make some money. Make some money for their team to pay for their team. But I anticipate them winning the National League West, and I do expect them to be in the National League Championship Series against who? Give me 1 second. I will talk about the drama-filled Giants, who thought they had Carlos Correa, Aaron Judge, among others, and they ended up with Mitch Haniger, Jock Peterson, and Michael Conforto. No, I didn't freeze. I just paused in a moment. Because that's all the Giants got. And I don't anticipate them to be any better than they were last year. Maybe a little bit better. They finished 81-81, 500. I expect the San Francisco Giants get just a little bit better. The Diamondbacks, I will give you one name to watch out for, Zach Gallen. And if it wasn't for Alcantara, I would say he might be the best pitcher in baseball come this season. And the Rockies have done absolutely nothing but pay folks like Chris Bryant, who disappeared last year. And can he do anything? Can he do anything? Anything? Hello, out there in Colorado. It used to be the best hitting ballpark in America. And this year, absolutely nothing. Prediction time. I already told you the Astros, I predict will come out of the West unless the Yankees do something, unless the Blue Jays do something in the trade deadline. I predict the Astros coming out of the American League. The National League, that's tough for me. Because I like the Phillies over the Braves. I like the Braves over the Mets. But I don't think the Padres are going away with the money they spent and that they will not be in the trading deadline mix. I anticipate the Padres winning the National League over the Phillies. That's my prediction. Well, no, I don't know. The Phillies don't. I don't think they have the hitting. Now that we think the Phillies have it, it's tough. Okay, just come back to me in this question. I probably will say it tomorrow on the All Sports Matters podcast. Might let you know what team might be it. Who wins the World Series? We'll have our predictions tomorrow. I expect my brothers to have my predictions tomorrow. They don't. I will question them to have predictions tomorrow at the All Sports Matters podcast. Quick story time with Poppy. That's me, by the way. Poppy Ortiz 02 on Instagram and on Twitter. Okay. Last year, my story time, many might not remember, might not even know. I went back to 1985. This was last year's story time. My love of baseball happened in the World Series of 1985 between the Kansas City Royals and the St. Louis Cardinals. It was the first time I sat there and kept official score. You know, who goes where, who does what, who does. I was 5 years old, 6 maybe, 6. And that was the first time I remember watching baseball. I'm pretty sure I watched it before then. That's my last year's story time, and that's how I fell in love with baseball. This year's story time, season 2. This is the premiere of Pride and Passion Baseball Talk, sponsored by the All Sports Matters podcast group. I'm going to go back to 1995, 10 years after that. That year changed the world of sports, the world of baseball, because they were just coming off the strike of 94. For those of you that don't remember, the Montreal Expos had the best team in 94. And then they didn't even have a team in 95. I just want to throw that out there. But in 95, I remember the playoffs specifically due it to it being the first time that the wild card was introduced. The wild card was introduced, and the wild card that year was the Yankees. They did not win the division. They went in as a wild card, and they played Ken Griffey Jr. Mariners. Okay, I'm trying to rethink. I'm trying to make sure I stick to my facts. And I remember it because it's a 5-game series, and the Yankees were up in the 9th inning. Edgar Martinez was up to hit. Ken Griffey Jr. was on first. They had another runner, I think, on third, second or third. He scored easily on any base hit. Probably with A-Rod. They had a rookie A-Rod then. Edgar Martinez hit a double down a left field line, and Ken Griffey Jr. scored from first base to win and clinch to move on to the the American League Championship Series against the Cleveland then Indians, now the Guardians. And it was the first time that the wild card was introduced that year. I might keep reiterating that because the strike of 94 was a huge deal. Then we had the summer of 96 where the home run frenzy came out of nowhere with McGwire and Sosa, even Ken Griffey Jr., who finished with 55, I believe, 54, 55. He was in the hunt for that. Nobody talked about that. But I wear this because he was my favorite athlete growing up in baseball, period, you know. And I enjoyed watching. I was that kid watching Ken Griffey Jr. I tried to do that swing. Also in 95, I was a sophomore high school, my first professional year playing coordinated sports, period. You know, everything happened to me in 95. I blossomed into an all-county baseball player, and I tried to do his swing. I couldn't do his swing. Nobody can do that swing. The sweetest swing in baseball. But man, I loved everything about baseball, even before then, from 85 to 95. That year also, I have to throw it out there since we're talking about the year, the Atlanta Braves won their first World Series title that year, beating the Indians, the then Indians, now Guardians. Yeah, I have to throw it out there, you know, to finish the story. But yeah, and I had none of that written down, not even on my lap. I have a tablet. This is all memories that will never, knock on wood, I will ever forget, you know? So, love baseball from day one. I'll love baseball to the day I die. Again, knocking on wood. Thank you for watching the season premiere of Pride and Passion Baseball Talk. I will see you guys tomorrow on the All Sports Matters podcast. Share. If you didn't catch the show live, I'm not mad, but share it. Watch it. Watch clips. Watch here, there. Share it. We'll have predictions tomorrow. We'll talk about NFL football frenzy free agency. It's a lot of F's, right? But watch it tomorrow. Thank you, everybody, for supporting me, supporting my brothers, and just enjoying what we do. Maybe have a show next week. I don't know. Next Thursday is opening day. I might be glued to the TV, drinking a lot of beers, starting at noon Central, 1 Eastern. I may have a show, I may not. I don't know. That's still in limbo. But obviously, we will talk about it in the All Sports Matters podcast. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. See you guys really soon.